Welcome everyone to our Tuesday night chat. Lovely to have you all here, and if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. We have a special night and a special guest tonight, Darren, who's from The Grove, and I've invited him on to share with us what he's been doing at The Grove for the last 30 years. I think he's been a little bit ahead of the game when it comes to community and gatherings, and I came across his property when setting up a permaculture course that we're running through the My Self-Reliance channel. And I took a little drive out to visit his property, and I was absolutely stunned by the history and the beauty that's there that was not on the website. So I thought this is a really well-kept secret that Darren has really kept under his hat for the last 30 years, and I'm just going to tell everyone and explode it for everybody now. So Darren's property has been, I guess, been running like a permaculture property. And for anyone who doesn't know anything about permaculture, it's about sustainability. It's about living and growing and doing things as close to nature as possible. But I'm going to turn it over to Darren. And Darren, when you first got started creating The Grove, and The Grove is out by Wiseman's Ferry, it's about an hour and a half north of Sydney. What did you intend for it when you started it?
Hi everybody. So 30 years ago, it was my mother and her partner who started The Grove, and the intention was for community. And we did try and find people to purchase land together and other properties in the valley at Wiseman's Ferry, Webbs Creek Valley, and but we couldn't really get people to commit or jump in on that, so we kind of did it on our own. And it was born out of the I'm not sure if anybody has been to Confest. Anyone know Confest? There you go. And it was born out of that philosophy where so we maintain the space, but you are the festival. You bring, and Confest is conference festival, so it was born out of the Conference was born out of the 70s. You know, we all thought we were going to die from nuclear holocausts, you know, Third World War. And you know, people were getting together to look for alternative forms of government, new ways of living, new ways of sharing. And that's what the Confest was born out of, like getting together. And thousands and thousands of people still go there. I still go there when I can. It's down at Deniliquin at the moment. And so it was born out of that so we could have something like that in Sydney. For people to come together, share ideas, network. Yeah, it's about community basically. Yeah.
Beautiful. And it's so funny, the words that you're using, they're quite familiar to us today, isn't it? We're experiencing those things today. So what has changed over time?
I'll tell you the truth, people have become less engaged with them. I think back in the 70s and 80s, there was more of an urge to come up with alternative forms of community and being with each other. And my actual, up until recently anyway, with all this COVID and stuff, is a bit different now, I guess. But you know, like people get stuck into their own lives, and they have kids and they have mortgages, and they kind of like, they change in a way, they get more into the matrix, if you like to call it. So I found like people, and they become overworked and stressed. And now I found The Grove, up until recently, has been more like people just need time to rest and relax and get away from the city, and they bring their kids, and it's a very family orientated thing. So until recently, up until the last couple of years, it has been more of a just relaxing before, and networking and just being with people and de-stressing and unplugging, even for a weekend or a week or however long they come from. And we find it's really, really valuable for people even if they're not like engaged in like, hey, what are we going to do? How are we going to transform society? Just being able to relax and do nothing with kids, with like-minded people, seems to be the medicine or just what people need at the moment. So we've just been there. Like we hold the property, we maintain the property, but when we have our Grove gatherings, it's your space to create what you want to create. You know, we have a chalkboard, we have spaces for people to run workshops, we have a beautiful creek, and it's up to people to do what they want to do there.
Amazing. Amazing. So tell us, when you're having your Grove gatherings, what are some of the surprising things that you see happen when the community gets together? Because it's a Grove gathering, it's not like a formally organized event. It's just people, you advertise, okay, we're having a Grove gathering on this weekend, all come. And because those who know about the Grove, they all just kind of rock up, right?
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Well, that's exactly it. We just create the space and people come, and it's all shared. Well, mainly you share meals. So you just bring food that you would normally have, and then you put it into the kitchen space in the communal area. And that's accessible to everybody. And so like a meal time would come and it's completely unorganized. And someone might go, oh, I'll take on chopping some food. Who wants to help chop? And then someone will go, oh, I'll help chop. And someone will go, well, I can do the ingredients, and then I'll do that. And then it's kind of like, and someone will go, oh, I don't know anything about cooking, but I'll get the fire going. So they'll collect the wood and start the fire. And it's just literally like spontaneous community, no structure. And it just really happens. It's almost like when you take away all the structure, people come out of the woodwork and it just happens. And it's really amazing how it always works, like with no structure, almost like no guidance. It just, when people come together and they have an intention to be together, and they, you know, everyone wants to pitch in, everyone wants to make it work, and it works. It's just really phenomenal to see it happening.
Amazing. Now I've got some photos because you know, visual photos tell the story. So I'm going to share the screen, and this is, when you see this is what you'll understand is what what blew me away when I went there, because you know, you can talk about this gorgeous property, but until you actually see it for yourself, you can only imagine. So let me just click on to.
It is a beautiful property.
Here it is. It is a beautiful place, and it's okay. I'm gonna just share right in the middle of this video. Okay. All right, what we're looking at here is the car park. So maybe you want to talk about what we're seeing, Darren.
Okay, here we have the car park, the unload area, and people move their cars out, and then this becomes just where on this side of the rope where the camera's taking the video from is where people, what we call gypsy parking. So people who are staying in their cars or their vans or their buses, this is kind of where they park here, and it's just a way to keep cars out of the camping area. So it's, you know, so it's a beautiful spot with no cars driving through it. And all along the side there is where the beautiful creek is. And here we have the wash up area. And there's the blackboard, and on the other side of that is the kitchen. And down the back there we have a labyrinth. I don't think you got videos of the labyrinth, did you?
Oh no, I wish I got video of the labyrinth.
Oh, the labyrinth is beautiful.
Have a look at this. The wash up area, and then Darren is talking about the chalkboard or the stage.
This is all made from recycled materials that we actually pulled down a few houses in Cherrybrook and brought the materials back to the Grove to build this structure. And it was all community built. We'd have working bees and everyone would just come up and build it. And
that's the wood for the fire. Look at the lush green grass, beautiful.
There's the fireplace, and we'll have 180 people sitting around there on carpets and sitting on the grass. And so where the camera is now, we kind of like do fire twirling, and it's just all spontaneously driven.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
So that's all camping area you see out there. So on one side of time, it's bounded by hillside. On the other side, we have cricket at the not cricket at the river.
So that's the kitchen with the ice box that you can see there. The communal ice food chest or ice box, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fridge I turned on its side. There's the labyrinth. You can't see it, but it's there in the grass.
And there's a kangaroo.
Yep. And we have wombats and rainbow lorikeets, and that's why we don't have people bringing pets.
Mm.
So we just bring a couple of bags of ice, throw it in there, and that's good to go.
And there's, okay, I'll go to the next video. You can see in the background there's a sand pit for the kids. Okay, so this is the entrance and what it looks like when you enter.
That's off the main road and you go over the steep hill, yeah.
Okay, I love this. You supply all the plates and cutlery and cups. Amazing.
Yep. It's all stuff we've collected over the years, all the pots and pans. They're probably all floated. So where were you standing now? That would be underwater. At this very moment, the water would be about a meter and a half over your head.
Oh, how heartbreaking.
It is. It's pretty bad. All those pots and pans are probably being flooded away because we didn't have time to rescue them. So we might have to go op shopping.
Oh, that breaks my heart. And the water jugs. Okay. The next picture might. Okay, coming up to here, we're going to go to the outhouse. What do you call this?
Toilet block.
Toilet block.
Oh, whatever. We call it the Abbey, the abolition Abbey. That's the library. People can run workshops in there.
This is absolutely beautiful. I was stunned. Look at it. It's just now. Don't tell me this is underwater.
No, this is not underwater.
This is a bit higher up on the hill, so it'd be safe.
This is built by working bees. That's all recycled timbers, everything.
Okay, so here you've got a compost toilet through there.
Yeah.
In the wash up area. So this is not your ordinary campsite. And I wanted people to get this because this is just, it's just your home away from home.
That needs a bit of a clean.
Your showers. Look, another compost toilet and shower.
Hot water, I might add.
Hot water. I know. I love that.
Gas hot water.
Okay, now we're looking at some of the boating equipment that hopefully is not floated off down the stream.
Well, a lot of that stuff came floating upstream and we've just, you know. So this is a tidal river. At the moment, it's really low tide there. So there's a Castle Mountain campsite is down the creek, and sometimes these boards just come floating up and they float around for a few days and we go, okay, we'll just pull it up.
Look at that. Beautiful. There's the kids' sandpit area. Hopefully that's still there when we get back to it.
All of that's underwater, completely underwater.
And we were supposed to be here this weekend. So I'm a bit, you know, heartbroken, but, you know, we'll get there eventually.
Dave.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Dave's here he's our permaculture expert. Welcome, Dave. There's
Thanks,
the blackboard.
right.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. I was going to try and dial in on my computer so I could see everyone, but I couldn't get in time, so I'm just on my phone.
That's okay. So that's some of the photos from the Grove. And the photos that we didn't see there, like Darren was saying, there's the labyrinth. So that's all mowed into the grass and a beautiful feature of. So tell us about some of the history, Darren, and you've got do you call it the Buddha tree?
The Bodhi tree, yeah. Tell us about the Bodhi tree. It's got a beautiful story.
Yeah, so, oh, wow, that's a bit of a story. So Proctor is into plants, and he was bringing some in from overseas, and customs had to hold on to them, as they do, and they killed them all. So in compensation, another person was bringing in some cuttings of the Buddha tree, the Bodhi tree from India, and they gave him a cutting of that, which is a direct descendant from the Buddha tree in northern India. And so we have that at the Grove, and we have a little cave next to it and a little meditation platform. And yeah, it's a really beautiful, quiet space to be in.
Amazing, amazing. So like you said, it's currently underwater, but when it's not underwater, how can people find you? Where do you post all about your Grove gatherings, etc.?
We have an email list, and we have the Facebook page, the Facebook group, just Grove Gatherings.
And okay, so it's called on Facebook. So if people search Grove Gatherings on Facebook, they would find it there. And then if you search the website,
yeah, it's just grovegatherings.com. Yeah. Then
you'll see all the dates for the happenings there. And so we're gonna put in our permaculture dates in there too eventually. So now we haven't seen, like you said, flooding like this bad in 30 years that you've been there. And I don't know if people have caught on to the fact that, you know, Mother Nature can be pretty wicked in this country at the best, but this is kind of a bit heavier than the usual lashings that Mother Nature provides. So, you know, there's things that we need to do to fortify ourselves, and you know, I'm feeling for the people all around, especially the East Coast at the moment, who are experiencing some really tough weather. And I just want to send a reach out. You know, I've talked on this channel for a long, long time about what we need to do to prepare for such events. And so you can go back over past videos that I've done and they're on the myselfreliance.com.au website that you can check out. 10 things you need to do prepare for an emergency. Things that you need to buy for a 72-hour kit, and and then do the quiz. How do you know that you're prepared? So if you are not experiencing being flat out underwater, and I guess we're all on here tonight fortunate, because I think that if you had to evacuate, then you probably wouldn't be on this call tonight. Then we can count ourselves as the lucky ones. But don't think that it's not going to happen to you, because you just never know. So I just want to send a message out to everyone watching that to go back over and do your emergency plan with your family, including deciding where you would go if you were told to evacuate, having everyone in your family notified, everyone's on the same page about where you would go in case communications drop out and you can't contact each other, that people would know where to find you. And then what you would take with you. So I always recommend the 72-hour kit. It's a bag that's already pre-packed with clothing and food and items that you could put together for shelter, and, you know, lots of pairs of socks, things that you're going to help you to survive for the next 72 hours. And that's the most critical time, is the first 72 hours of an emergency, and that you can be well looked after because you are prepared. So that's my little shout out to everyone. I don't know, we're going to have a conversation about that. I just want to, you know, feel into how everyone's doing at the moment, and because it is a really scary time for a lot of people in this country, especially today's weather lashings. It was relentless. So yeah, blessed if you are on this call, and appreciate you being here. Does anyone have any, before we move on that, any questions for Darren? Throw it out there. You can come off mute, because I know a lot of people are into community and holding community events, and or might want to know, you know, how to get this kind of, you know, thing up and running in your own area. Does anyone have any questions for Darren?
Darren, can I just ask, it seems very Confest. I've been to Confest for years and worked it for years, so probably seen you there.
Yeah.
It seems really Confest based, the way that you've set it up and structured it, which is great. How long have you been? You said 30 years, but how often would you run events there?
4 or 5 times a year.
Okay, and they're like just a day or a couple of days?
Usually over long weekends and times like that, when people have enough time to come up. Because Confest isn't on this year, we're having a 30th birthday over the Easter weekend when Confest was scheduled.
Yeah.
So that'd be a nice big one.
And if I can just ask, the people that come, apart from everything they bring, and it's very community based, is there any sort of membership or vetting people or payment that they make?
We just ask for a $20 donation per night, and people who find difficulty paying it, you know, they just pay what they can pay. No, there's no membership. We don't know who's coming. People just turn up. We get random people turning up at any time anyway. It's just like people just drive up for the day and go, hi, I'm here. And it's like, oh, hi. You know what I mean? It's really random and really community. It's almost like family in a way, but you never know who's, yeah.
That comes. And lastly, just with council, have you had any issues with permits or council, police, fireys, etc.?
We used to have a lot of issues with the neighbours, because they were really freaked out by what we were doing, because they're quite mainstream or redneck, you know, just cows, and I think they got to know us a little bit now, and then so we're on good terms with them. They do get a little bit upset with the noise after 9:30 if people doing a lot of like drumming and loud music, but other than that, they're okay with this. They're happy. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Thanks.
You're right.
I love the drumming and I love the fire dancing.
We've done fire walking too.
Wow. Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Does anyone else ask, Darren, do you advertise your events? And if so, where do you advertise?
No, we don't advertise. It's kind of word of mouth. I mean, I use the Facebook group and the email list. I tend not to just broadcast it generally. I mean, back in the old days, I used to put notices around Glebe and Newtown and Bondi and all over the place. And at one stage, we had like 350 people coming there. And that was quite a little bit, probably a bit too many people. Now we kind of limited it at 200. But yeah, it's just through the Facebook site, really. I don't really like our reliance on Facebook so much, but that's kind of where we're at the moment. If anyone's got any better ideas, but yeah. What's the site called? It's just Grove Gatherings. Thank you. And I kind of moderate who joins, just because people sometimes post personal things or photos there, and I just want to make sure people who are on the group, you know, are supposed to be there. That's all.
Yeah, if you go to the website, there's not that many photos, and so that's why I got a shock when I drove up and went, wow, look at all the beauty here that he's not showing off. So
yeah. Also, so at places like Confest, I've created this because there's a few communities around the area, and I've created, for want of a better term, I've called it Sydney Village. And then so all these communities will come together and kind of like a bit of a showcase. In that way, you can meet people, or people go, oh, what is this thing called the Grove? And we can tell them. So it is very low key. We don't push it, but we don't not push it for any particular reason. It just never kind of happened that way.
Emma Rhoda is asking you, please let her in when she requests to join.
Yes. No.
Hey, I might just ask David. David, you, as a person who has stayed there and you've known Darren for quite a while, give us your experience or a story or something that you'd like to share about the Grove.
Mhm. Every experience I've had with the Grove has felt like family, and I've felt the love and the welcomeness and the warmth of belonging. Everything that I do with permaculture, with community building, with empowering people or getting involved with community-based events, you know, my purpose and my love is empowering people to feel the love, the courage, and the strength to walk their own journey, you know, and feel the belonging and the acceptance of just being you. And you definitely feel that at the Grove. One question I have for Darren, you know, to reflect back into the group is, you know, what do you see? What do you feel that you would like to see happen at the Grove? How do you feel the next 10 years look for the Grove, you know, like in terms of what you would like to see happen, and a way that we can come together as a community and, you know, facilitate that. Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
question.
What direction do you feel like you're heading in?
Well, this has been on my mind for a while now, because my mother and her partner, you know, they're in their on the later side of 70s now. And they live there obviously, and they maintain the place and they weed and they do all the work, and we have working bees to help out. But so I'm going to be taking over the property at some stage, and like I will need help, and you know, like I'll need someone to live there, or a group of people to live there, because I live in Sydney. I can't, you know, I've got younger kids, so, and they're in school here.
Yeah.
So I probably will be looking at transforming it more into like literally more like a community-based project rather than us providing the space and people just coming. But it's a huge resource there for Sydney people. It's only an hour and a half from Gosford, Sydney, Parramatta, and I would love to see it more utilized in that way. You know, there's weekends in the year when nobody's there, and it's kind of like, wow, we need, you know, like, it's such a resource for people, like, to be there and to use it, you know.
And how to keep it pristine as it is, you know, if going forward, and the beauty and the, you know, the completeness that's there. So it's a very, probably a tight rope to traverse. How do you do that? How do you manage keeping that, the essence of it, when you I guess are looking at other hands to go forward with it?
Like we're opening it up for people who want to do permaculture, like, you know, people want to get into it but they might not have the land to do it. It's like, use our land. I mean, like, you guys take on, whoever it is might, you know, form a committee or a group and use the land. It's there to be used. Like, you do your own show with it, you know.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's what we would have been doing there this weekend. Hey, David.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've tentatively rescheduled for the 1st and 2nd of April. I've just quickly seen on the chat that there's quite a few people that have said, yep, we can do that. 1 or 2 people have said, you know, they've got commitments around that weekend. We want to start doing this as a regular offering. You know, I've been with a couple of people in the last couple of days, Adrian and Isabella, who have also expressed that they'd like to get on board and get involved with this weekend, this offering. You know, moving forward as a community base, and, you know, speaking to people like Darren that, you know, have lands that are opening up to community and possibility. About a year ago, we started a thing called the Earth Fund, and the idea was that people could potentially donate land to the Earth Fund, and that would be taken care of by a charity community organisation, where the land would be transferred into a community trust, a property trust, an educational type trust, anyway, a trust that protects the land and stops any further development or ownership. And what we're trying to do is open up the possibility where people are encouraged to come back onto land, to gather and to learn. We're going to educate each other on sustainability and regenerative agriculture, permaculture, syntropics, everything that is common sense and, you know, integrates us with the land, each other in a harmonious way. So we're really looking forward to presenting this first offering with Darren, Jackie and Prof at the Grove on the 1st and 2nd of April. It's, you know, it's the first step in expanding on their vision and also our vision to, you know, to give people the confidence to know that when they do walk onto the land, they're going to have the skills to be able to make it work, and not just, you know, make it work, but really thrive, you know, in a sustainable context. And, you know, we're going to demystify everything. You know, we're going to basically present all the elements that that really do make it work at the core fundamental level, and and work through a bunch of processes that, you know, that are highlighted along the way, like dealing with our own waste and being responsible or more ethical in, you know, in the way that we do cycle with nature. And, you know, harmonizing those elements, you know, we tend to drop into a bit of a happier flow with life, and that reflects in our relations, you know, with each other. And we're looking forward to making this offering. And if anyone's got any questions about that, or, you know, what that involves, what that looks like, be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, that's perfect, David, because there's a lot of people who are tuning in now to talk about setting up communities. And, you know, when we talk about setting up communities, we're not just talking about food security, which is one part of it, but we're also talking about social permaculture. You know, how do you exist in a space, you know, bringing people together from different backgrounds. And I feel like one of the beautiful things that Darren has done at the Grove is giving people opportunities to practice being in a, you know, closed environment, with mixing with people, and, you know, practicing that social permaculture, blending together so that there's like beautiful harmony. And of course, you know, we know the longer that you spend with time with other people, the more that friction can occur. And so, you know, as a species, we all need to learn to work more as nature does, and be able to grow together harmoniously. So I love that on this call tonight there are people who are all about community, and who all have that interest in, you know, moving forward. How does that look, and how can we embrace the best of our knowledge, the best of ourselves, the best of nature? And when you talk about waste, David, I think that is just the antithesis of like, you know, being responsible, you know, and looking after this planet so that we can, for that sustainability piece is super important.
Yeah, we've been brought up in a culture that presses the flush button and our poo just disappears, you know, with 15 litres of water behind it. So it just doesn't make sense that in the driest continent on the planet that we're using 15 or 20 litres of drinking water or water to flush away potential fertile product that actually, you know, gets cycled into, you know, to the Earth's nutrients, and every other animal on the planet defecates, and we're the only one that has a flush button. But on the macroscopic scale, it's indicative of, you know, what's happening in our personal lives. You know, we tend to outsource the problems or the responsibilities, or we tend to complain a lot. It takes a great deal, or a fundamental deal of work and, you know, and want to actually excavate in and do the work. And we're just, all the techniques that I've learned actually aren't that difficult, which is part, I guess, the core of the offering that we're presenting with these workshops and sustainability, how to ethically and responsibly compost human poo, dead animals, anything that's organic, and have like a rich, fertile organic compost in 20 days. It's a 20-day compost process. It's a process that can actually heat water for free as well. It gets up to about between 65 to 70 degrees Celsius, which is actually too hot to put that, that temperature directly on your skin. So you need to actually mix cold water with that. It's phenomenally hot. It kills all pathogens. So I'm really looking forward to teaching people that process, and also just being able to get a deeper relationship with the soil and the ground, be able to touch the soil, feel the soil, and dialogue, with the earth, so that, by touching it and squeezing it, feeling it in your fingertips, it's telling you, is it too wet? Is it too dry? Is it too sandy? Is it too clay? Is there not enough humus in there? Is there not enough life in there? They're all really simple things, and we're going to go right through everything. And yeah, walking barefoot, touching barefoot with the earth, you're always, getting that contact pressure, as the earth is, pushing back against you as much as you're pressing in. All that is information. Information actually, directly comes into your being, so that, continually as you're walking through the bush, walking through the earth, walking through the lands, you're getting feedback, and you're continually getting that information. So we're going to plug people directly into that source of knowledge, and it's quite indigenous, it's quite a grassroots level of understanding, and you don't need any tools for that. So if I can give people that knowledge in a weekend, and have people coming out feeling more confident, more exuberant about working with Mother Earth and all the growing systems, and cycling our waste systems in through that, being connected into the water cycle and the carbon cycle, then we're just going to get a really good picture of how that all looks, and our place in it.
I want to ask Elizabeth, I guess that's not the kind of conversations you guys have at Confest.
I'm just loving this whole call. I just love it. David, you're amazing, and Darren, and just everything. I'm like going, yes, that's like, I agree, we're doing it, or we want you. We need someone, as well, to do certain aspects of our permaculture for our land. And yeah, it's just ringing all the right bells, I suppose. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah, David, Elizabeth's in Victoria, and so she's and the 15 others are setting up I guess it's like an off-grid living community.
Right.
It's basically a whole new system. So it's a whole new governance without governance, it's moving away from our own currency, our own everything, and short of seceding or, buying Mars or or another planet, it's, doing things holistically for every part of our community, our elderly, our young, and I think it's just wonderful to hear what you're all doing, and it takes all of us to do this and to live this daily, not just up and do it every now and then, in my opinion.
How have you guys organised yourselves in terms of land title and ownership and community structure based around, multiple occupancy or group title? How does that look for you guys?
And just be aware that this is being recorded and will go out on YouTube. So in case you don't want me to record it, let me know.
Thank you. Yeah, we're in the stage at the moment of we formed an incorporated association. We are a registered licensed not-for-profit charity. We're in the process of going through the motions of being accepted as a 4.1.1, which gives us the ultimate criteria to support everyone without, that's why I was asking about council permits and things like that, to support moving forward, so that the association, like you were mentioning, I think, David, the land is owned by the association, not by the individual, or the people come and go or lease certain spots or just visit for a bit or just zoom into workshops, etc. So we haven't got to the point of talking titles. We've just literally been allocated zones of Victoria to start looking in and researching, like you were saying, Kelly, you know, being prepared for any sort of emergency, you know, going up high and all of that. So you're probably ahead of us in that thinking, but it's on our to-do list. It's important information we need to know.
And how do we find you? How do we find what it is?
Innerworldvision.com is about to launch very soon. So
Okay.
we're busy at the moment with a company who's putting together the first stage of our website. It's massive, as you can imagine, because what came through I do spirit channeling, and what came through to me over a year ago was to create a whole new world, a whole new system, not just look at healthcare or look at education or look at, you know, but create a whole new system for the whole. So it's a big job. Our website will be launching, like I said, soon. We've got a little Insta page, and we're very, very big on Telegram. We've been since about June last year, just connecting people, you know. And I think what we've seen is that, which everybody wants that quick fix. You know, I want help now. I want my A bag ready now. I want my checklist of my emergency places to live now. But not many people are looking, from what I've seen or we've seen, at long-term solutions to the political problems, et cetera, et cetera. So we've, we're a lot to share, and it's really great to connect with you all and share and learn from you all what you're doing. I think it's amazing.
Does anyone else have any questions or want to share what you're up to in community? I know we have a lot of community thought leaders in this group, so, or any questions for David or for Darren or for Elizabeth? Just give everyone a second if they want to come off mute. The one thing that that I'm looking for is thought leaders around this area, is because I'm just going to make a huge announcement right now. This is a world first. In July this year, I want to hold a self-reliance summit, so that over 10 days we hear from top leaders in the field of community, mindset, permaculture, all the things, the food security, all the topics that people want to know about in this space, and have speakers and events happening over a 10-day period. So it's not just online, but it can be events in your own area that you can register for. And so I want to put together a team of people to create this summit. So if anyone's watching and said and knows in your heart that that's like, I so want to be a part of that, let me know. And because I think this is the conversation that is just really important to have, but also connecting people, because like you said before tonight, Elizabeth, we didn't know each other, but we've been doing this same thing and having these conversations. So it's really important, I feel, to you know, draw those lines of connection across Australia, and because then otherwise we're all inventing the wheel and thinking that we're starting from scratch, and we don't need to. So I just love that we can, you know, have this inner world away from the outer world. So yeah, it's beautiful. Anyone want to reach out to me with that, that'd be beautiful. So unless anyone wants to have a comment, I might end the recording there. So thank you for those who have been watching. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. We've heard from so many of you who are just sharing with us the heart space that you're in. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week when I have Melissa on talking about homeschooling. And I know that's a question for a lot of people, is this world away from the system of education, how do we manage it? And you know, those of us who are not teachers, actually I am a teacher, but teaching my own kids, it's a different story. You know, how do we manage the homeschooling? So that's our conversation next week. So tune into that at 8 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time, and we will